We'll go ahead and get started. It is May 28, 2024. It's about 6:02 in the evening. We're calling the Board of Health meeting to order. Tonight, we are welcoming Steve Saveska. Steve, congratulations and welcome to the Board of Health.
Thank you.
We have in attendance Jim Philbrook, Steve, Matt Gagnon, myself, and a few other people that will be discussing some issues tonight. First order of business is the acceptance of the prior meeting minutes for April 30th, 2024. I'll entertain a motion to accept those.
Through the chair, I'd like to make a motion. We accept the minutes of April 30th, 2024.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, moving right along to new business. We have a well variance for Highland Road. I did look a little bit at this. But are you both here for that?
I'm here for that.
Okay. Feel free, you can either stay there or you can come forward if you have.
Chris should.
Yep. Chris, you want to come on
Yeah.
up? I did see that.
Okay, is that a plan? Yeah.
I have not
Okay.
seen the plan.
So we had a request due to the tight restrictions up in this area. A request for a offset to that well, greater than 50 feet. We're right over 50 feet. We're 51 feet. So that's what we're here in front of the board tonight for.
So let's see, where's the house?
Okay, the house is, this is going to be a 3-bedroom.
Oh, because you're over here.
Yep.
So-
That's my house, and
61.
I do have the Title V with all the dimensions of everything.
Okay,
My septic is here. Leach field runs this way,
okay.
and basically roughly 50 feet to where he drilled the well.
And where's the well on here? Where would it be roughly
It'd
over
be
there?
roughly right about here.
Okay.
And the end of my septic is roughly about here.
Okay. And this property is yours over here as well?
Not mine, no.
Okay.
That's just my property. He just purchased from here over.
Oh, all right, okay.
We're on Highland Road.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like that.
Oh, all right, that's better.
This is right through here.
Is that proposed well?
Yeah. It's an actual well now, that well was installed.
Well's installed.
Yeah, yeah, so we were able to do a physical measurement from it on we up there field surveyed.
Okay. 51 feet.
51 feet.
Yeah.
Okay. So the variance request is for this property to allow that well to exist?
Exactly, for this property to allow the well to exist, yes.
How
You're
did it
the
get?
abutter, right?
Yeah, that's what
You're the abutter.
you're saying what I'm thinking.
Yes, I'm
Yeah.
I'm
What am I
at
missing
60,
here?
I'm at 61 Highland.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
So I bought it 2 years ago.
Mhm.
And only reason why I'm here is I just want to make sure that if anything ever happens to my leach field, I can replace it where it is, seeing it's 50 feet away from a well.
I got you.
51.
Or if I go to sell my house, I don't have a problem selling my house
Right.
because my leach field is 50 feet to a well.
I understand.
Right.
Yep. Okay. Chris, do you know why the well got put in already?
I don't, the well was, the site was laid out, I know that it's all tight through there, so they chose a spot and, you know.
Put it in.
And fortunately they put it in, so.
Jim, do you know, did we ever get permission on that one?
No, Tom did.
So we did though,
Mhm.
as a board. Okay.
Well,
And from the street, you can literally see my septic from the street.
Mhm.
I've taken photos.
Yeah.
Everything.
Is it a raised system?
No, but the caps, you can see the caps.
Oh,
I got the
okay.
green caps.
Oh, all right.
So you can see the caps and
Okay. I understand. So, John,
Well,
I mean, the concern with the neighbor, you want to address that?
me myself, I'm not drinking out of that well.
Yeah, you're on the other side of it.
Yeah.
So you're not the well,
But
you're the
I
septic.
just want to make sure, and if it's okay for them to have it there, I just want it in writing, signed, stamped, blessed.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
if I need to do something to my leach field,
Mm-hmm.
or if I sell my house,
Yep.
I have no problem.
Right.
That's all I'm looking for.
Yeah, and the lot is bigger than some of these other ones around Glen Echo, that's for sure. I mean, I've seen some lots that are less than half that size.
John, if I'm.
Yeah, go ahead.
Jump in. So, to answer your question, down the road, your system, your house, all of that, you're there. You're
Yep.
locked in, so you won't have a problem selling it, because it's too close to the well or anything like that. If your system fails down the road, there's
Yep.
probably, I don't know how old your house is, but a lot of times when they did the leach fields, they
Well,
left
the
alternate.
system's pretty brand new.
So-
I think it was 15,
Okay, so
2015 it got put
When-
in.
hear me out. In theory, because it should be, in theory, when we did your system, they should have already, unless they did it this time, but they should have additional capacity for your system to fail down the road and then
Yep.
fix it up and replace. They usually do alternate trenches, unless they just did that on the upgrade then. So, but you're not going to have a problem like trying to sell it because of this well or anything like
Yep.
that. So I don't foresee any impact on your property or your house or any of that whatsoever. I don't see a
Yeah,
problem.
I don't
with that.
either.
No,
He has a reserve zone.
that's the word.
Already
reserve.
designated for your system in
Yep.
case you need to add on or fail. So it's
And
already
you-
designed into there.
And if I could, your on the same, your well and your septic are within that you gotta get a variance for that septic as well, to that 50 feet, so, you can put it, you have to put it right back in where it
Yeah.
would fail out
Yeah.
of, you know, so.
Yeah. It's common for this board and other boards of health in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts to allow that 51 feet is fair game. The law doesn't say no, it just says you've got to come to us and we have to
Yep.
say, show basically a hardship. Why is it here? For what reasons? Hear the neighbors' concerns, and a lot of times the neighbors come, they just want to make, it's usually the opposite. Usually they're afraid that their well is going to get contaminated because the septic system is too close.
Yep.
But it's not going to impact you down the road.
Well, that's the only reason why I was here.
Yeah.
Like I said, think my well's over here.
Yeah.
It's far enough away and
So for the paperwork that you requested, Jim, do we have a signature from Tom where he allowed it, or what do we have to give to
We
him?
have an
to say-
as-built.
We have an as-built.
Mhm.
So,
It's done. I don't think we have it yet.
Yeah, no,
We still have to wait for the engineer to sign off and the final.
so is there a way maybe to take his information when we get an as-built, either call him and he can come and pick it up, so then
No.
you'll have,
Yeah, he put it
already
right
signed in.
all right,
So
so
make sure we contact
can we
him.
put a note so he gets, when it's available, he can come in and get it, or mail it to him, or whatever it
Absolutely.
takes to,
Yeah, last thing you want is when you go to sell the property, that somebody comes by and
find this.
and then you start going through
Yeah.
all these
Yeah,
records.
we
and-
put, because we're going paperless.
Mhm.
So in there, we draft a letter that the board has approved on the variance, if you do approve it today, and it will be in that file for that property. You can also have a copy of that, but
So we're gonna approve a variance even though it's already installed in our
I'm saying
boards?
if you do approve the variance. I'm just saying that we always write a letter, when you give a variance for the distance reduction, we always put a letter in there, in the file. Especially now, we're going paperless, where all these files that you're gonna see are gonna be all scanned in and on the computer, backed up.
So if Tom's approved it, which came from our board, usually it comes to the board first. We
I did
approve
discuss it with him.
And then it happens that way. This
That-
looks like the cart went first.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen anymore.
Yep.
I mean, that well shouldn't have been dug until, if they wanted to do that reduction, it should have been, which in all likelihood should have been, it's already there. Tom signed off on it, but I told him, you can't do that, I'm gonna bring it before the board,
So,
so.
John, in my opinion, what I think we should do is have a discussion, probably, unless there's reason not to, approve that variance. That supports Tom, and it also is just stronger language for this house down the road,
Right,
100 years from now, whatever, that the board approved it.
right.
And then we're caught up. In the meantime, we'll talk to Tom and just let him know that it needs to come to the board first, and then he can sign off on it. Tom didn't do anything wrong, we would,
No.
more than likely would have approved
Oh,
it
yeah.
anyways.
He's thinking if it's below 50, I said, but remember, our regs are 100.
Right. So, I can understand what's going on, so that's my 2 cents on what we do
Yep.
about it.
Yep.
I don't
So-
think this board's ever not approved, as long as it's at 50. We've done even less than 50, but as long as it was 50 this board, so he was going on that assumption that it was 51 feet.
I understand.
And it's in the tight areas down there, so.
Yeah, I can see the hardship, for sure.
So do we need a motion and vote on this?
I say we do, because we'll have it in the minutes, it's gonna, Chris, you drafted this up?
Yeah, Bob, in my off-season vacation.
So,
Yeah.
it'll be stronger for his client and his house to
Right.
have it locked and loaded, because we don't wanna, as far as I know, and I don't know how many have slipped through the cracks like this, if you will, but I don't wanna start a precedence where some we voted on, some we didn't. You know,
We always vote on all of them. There's only, I think I know of 2 or 3, and I discussed it with Tom, and he's like, yeah, I absolutely fine.
well, John, if I may,
Mhm.
if you think there's 2 or 3 that have slipped through the cracks, can we get those addresses? So this board can take a look at those individual lots and then maybe make a vote on those 2 to just, to
Solidify. Yeah.
solidify it and get it right?
It's-
Because we wanna keep it consistent.
You're right, because it's the board that has approval of the reduction in distance, not the Title V inspector. Although they're on there and the plan is there, he should have waited. But like you said, it was 51 and he thought it was the norm, so.
So, through the chair,
Yep.
I'd like to make a motion that we accept a variance for a well for house number,
They don't have one.
No.
It's map parcel rock, I think. I don't think they got one yet here.
okay, so let's do it that way.
Just get you that.
Well, I know I'm 61, and I
Yeah,
believe the
maybe
next
60.
house is 85, I believe.
Yeah, 'cause this is
So it is the
80,
odd number.
68 on the, across the street.
Yeah, so it's like.
It is right here. This is lot 7E, so that doesn't help us any. See what it's-
Right now, it's called 0 Highland Road because they haven't assigned a new number yet. Kurt hasn't done a number yet.
Well, there's a discussion between Kurt and Nick about who's gonna be assigning addresses, because it's getting a little,
All right, so for our purposes, can we leave the physical number to be determined,
yeah.
but to clarify what we're discussing?
What is it, east, west, north, south of 61?
Well, I'd say we go, so we have a motion to accept a variance for the well for 51 feet from the closest sewerage system on McClure Engineering Plan. Plan project number 054/3081/P. And that will be a temporary identification number until we get an actual street address.
And that's also your application number.
And
as
a
well.
Charlton Board of Health application number 2024-5.
Perfect. All right.
So there's a motion.
And Steve, are you able to be involved with this? You don't know? Well, that's all right. Well, if you want, you can be safe and just leave you out of this one, okay? I'll second your motion, Matt. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Hopefully that gets you what you want, sir.
Chris, once they have the, vote down, I'll text you.
Good, like that.
Yeah, I got your number in my.
Could have been
phone
worse.
ready
Could have
from
been
the
like
other
40
texts
worse
you sent me,
instead of
so.
50. I know. Then we'd be talking about wells out there,
Yeah.
God knows what else.
This one is 61 Highland. Are you 61?
I'm 61.
This is your, to your property here, which I think you have the same scenario where you have 50, approximate, well, you're 66 feet from the septic.
Yeah, for my septic, which,
Yeah.
well, septic is 50 feet and leach field is 100 feet.
Yeah, so you're right to the edge here, that's just 66. Again, we don't
I'm
have,
not wearing your official shirt.
so this is one that,
Maybe next meeting.
you said you just did in 15, so this may be going on longer than we think. 'Cause that's 66 feet for his property.
His was 66 feet
Yeah.
from his septic or a different one?
Septic.
My septic.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but we'll make sure we get that to you.
Thank you.
Thank you both
Thank
for
you.
coming
Good
in.
luck.
Thank you.
All right,
Now, can I ask a question?
yep.
It was just curious, but there was asking whether or not Steve was able to vote on that or not. Can you
Yeah.
talk about that for
Yes,
us for a second?
absolutely.
So,
He's a part of the board now, so let's,
I'm just curious why, for whatever reason, he would not be able to vote on that.
go ahead,
If I
Jim.
may, Steve? Steve and I discussed about ethics, whether what would be ethical for him to speak about and vote on since his first meeting. So I called Sheriff Sabara, she's staff attorney, and she recommended that Steve hold off from voting on anything involving a well until he disclosed through ethics that he is a well driller and on the board, and then she's sure that they would approve it. But you must disclose this first before you're able to actively.
I understand. He needs to disclose it first before he makes an action here.
Yes.
So, just letting you know, Steve, I'm a licensed septic installer in this town. I'm also on the Board of Health. So, there's potential for conflict for me, as was forefathers that served on this board for years and years and years. Elliot Burlingame Sr., Willie Stevens Sr., like it's in, you know, that's one reason why you're on the board, maybe, is because of your expertise in the water and the well drilling and all that, right? So there's nothing, to me, there's no reason why you wouldn't be able to vote. What I did for myself is I went to the clerk's office over here. They have a one-page disclosure form, and I say, to whom it may concern, my name is Matt Gagner, I own company XYZ, I'm on the Board of Health, I have a license to install septic systems or whatever. Now it's public information, it's a full disclosure, and it's there. So anybody that ever questioned, like, hey, isn't he this or that, they could always go to the clerk's office and say, hey, has this information been disclosed? And it, like, in my situation, it's the septic's on the Board of Health, but I've had tree stuff that's come up and septic stuff and all, you never know when all of a sudden something's gonna come up. So it's not that you can or you can't vote. If I ever think like there's something that's iffy that I might have prior information on or something like that, I'll go out and fill out the disclosure form individually. For example, say you were the guy that put that well in, I would go make a special trip to the clerk's office and then say, be it known or to whom it may concern, I'm on the Board of Health and own and operate XYZ company. I installed the well at XYZ property, and that's it. You've disclosed it. That's all they're asking for. So I don't think it's a big deal. That's how I've done it, and that's how it's been done in the past.
I don't think it's a big deal.
So, yeah, so thanks, Matt, for that explanation. So do you have to do this only when there's a perceived ethics conflict of interest?
I do it like if
Or is it a catch-all, and then if something is really close that's going to come before the board, then you go and you go, okay, I better spell this out.
right. So
And you probably say something like, I have no financial interest in this. However, I did work at this site that's coming before the
yeah,
board.
you-
Okay.
I've never added that, but I've done the original disclosure. I own a company in town,
Yeah.
just to identify me and what I do for a living and all that. But if I have something individual that I feel as though I have the right to vote on, then specifically I will do a second one for the individual application.
Okay, and that just goes to the town clerk? It doesn't
Goes to
have
the
go-
town clerk, yeah. And then so anybody that says, well, how come he's, installing septic systems, but isn't he on the Board of Health and this and that? They're able to go and at least say, hey, he disclosed it, so he's not hiding
Right.
anything,
Yeah.
and that's how it goes. But it's all boards. You have people that are on the planning board that own excavators, you have
Oh, yeah.
people in the
Yeah.
Board of Health that do septic systems, you have people that are on the Water and Sewer Commission that pay taxes for sewer, so
Right.
there's conflicts throughout every community, and it doesn't make it right or wrong. It's just the fact that we have to disclose it to let it be known. So I understand why, if he didn't vote tonight because he hasn't filled out that disclosure form yet,
Sure, sir.
that I understand. It'd be a matter of going to the clerk, signing it out, and then it doesn't mean you can't vote on any well issue at all. I don't see it that way whatsoever. So that's my take on it.
Yeah, okay, so we'll get that cleared up. Yes, Jim?
When I spoke to Cheryl, she said it's just that anyone, if you're a septic installer or a well driller who actually puts in wells or whatever, you need to disclose it, protect your own business and your own interests. She said it's just an issue, a step that would protect you, like Matt said, filling it out as disclosure form or whatever. It doesn't forbid you from voting later. It allows you to because you disclosed it. But that's why she said tonight, your first meeting, that if you didn't speak to ethics and he gave you guidance, that she would, as the attorney for Mass Association of Health Boards for you guys,
Yeah.
that she said you're better off waiting until you do that and get it set. And then, like Matt said, it's just a matter of, most boards, for your expertise, that's why people get involved in boards, because you have the knowledge, closure of landfills, septics, wells, public health, nurses get on, whatever, so
Yeah.
it's, I think you can clear it up pretty quick.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just didn't want to, that was her recommendation, you can do what you want, I serve at the will of the board, but that's, when I called her and spoke to her, she said that's the best, that's what she recommends.
Yeah.
So,
I would go down to the clerk's office, fill one out, say, I'm on the Board of Health, I drill wells for a living and service wells, and that's it, you're done. And if we came upon a project where maybe you put the well in, or think you might be putting a well in, then, and you want to have a say on it, then on that one, you do an individual letter on it, and say, but it doesn't mean you can't by any means.
So did that well on that lot that they were here about, did that well get drilled on the spot where the proposed location is on the print?
well, it wasn't an as-built, so I couldn't say that for sure, so, but I did talk to Tom about it, and that's why it's here before us, because I caught it and said, no, anything that's less than 100 needs to come before the board regardless, so let's keep consistent with that, and let's make sure that those come before the board, and you don't make a field up decision that, so he was thinking that it was okay if it was 50 or above. That's what his assessment was. Where he got that from, I don't know. So when I looked at it and said, wait a minute, and he said, no, I can approve that. I said, only the board can. I don't think he was trying to be disingenuous or anything. I just really thought that he was trying to move the process along.
Sure, yeah.
There is some things in Title V that he can do a field upgrade without coming before the board. A well is not one of them.
Yeah.
So, the well distances are approved by this board only.
Yep.
All right. Moving on,
Moving on.
new business. I'm gonna try to get you out of here in 5 minutes.
Thank you.
Jim, you and I spoke briefly. Gary Magnuson could not be here tonight or decided not to be here, which is fine. You're going to articulate this better than I did. Can you just give us the cliff notes on DEP and the landfill and what's going on as far as approvals?
I've been
and-
approving the EDEP filings by Bruce Haskell and by Gary Magnuson and Ben Gould. So we did get approval for the closure corrective action design plan. That means we can move forward on the landfill. And we
great.
Yeah.
we did get the agreement with the Jacksons, who came in and sat down. They were very nice to come visit. And we had to determine that we didn't have a plot plan that really designated and held the pins on this right side over here. Which one is it? Right here, for Nancy and Roland Jackson. So we wanted to make sure, because we do have to have that access agreement, because we need to go on their property to pull some of that back. And we've assured them that we're gonna leave the property in better condition than when we pulled some of that back.
Mm-hmm.
So we had to get the road is put in the wrong place, I guess.
Okay.
It's too far over, so they had a hard time finding a pin. So he wouldn't certify it and stamp it.
Who's
The
he?
surveyor,
The surveyor?
Joe Levesque, who's working for Gary Magnuson. It has been now filed by an attorney through the town of Charlton and by Joe Levesque and approved by the Jacksons and signed and notarized by the town of Charlton. So we're good to go on that. So the DEP did approve to moving forward for starting the closure of the landfill. So,
I'll sleep better tonight.
Yeah, it's good news.
Yeah.
so and I did forward this to everyone, but if you need a copy, and the common boundary line agreement was drawn up by an attorney that was hired by Andrew. Our Mr. Cosgrove did not write this up. I guess he's done and retiring. James Cosgrove is no longer going to be there. But, so we did have it notarized, and the Jacksons were very nice of them to, they were just concerned that they wanted to keep that access on that road that comes in, that they own. They have a right-of-way that comes to the backside, that he likes to sometimes take his ATV or something, or drive through just to check his property, and Gary assured him that he had to take the metal, he had a metal thing across, and it's against the law to leave them there, for bikes can't see him, there was no orange, so he took that down and brought in big, huge blocks
Oh,
that he will move after, once it's done, so. That protects them, you can't have those up, someone can get killed, so.
Yeah.
have we had any updates about the mowing? Because I know they were trying to get that done sooner than later.
Gary wants him to do it soon. I think he spoke to the board. He just wants approval that you would allow him to determine that it's
Yeah.
good to go for Bruce and get it
I
done.
thought we did.
We did.
We did.
So I think he's coordinating it. He wants to be there when he does it, and there's a few repairs that need to be done, and Gary wants to make sure they're done.
Yeah, yeah, we approved all that
So
2 times.
I'll let him know. I spoke to him. Gary's been really busy, and he's got a few things going, so, but,
I think they wanted to get it soon before the summer and then
Exactly.
one in the fall, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's getting to be,
I mean, last year it was just rain,
It was too wet,
rain.
yeah.
He just couldn't do it.
yeah.
So, at least Bruce, I give him credit, he determined that it was unsafe and was gonna cause more harm to mow it, and he just didn't do it.
Yeah, no, I don't blame them.
So,
Anything on PFAS?
yes, the DEP's determined that, Gary, meaning CMG, had missed 1 or 2 houses. He didn't miss them, they refused to allow him on the property. So DEP is going to send them a letter, so we may have to test a couple more,
Okay.
so. But it wasn't, because Gary would visit them, knock on their door, leave letters from CMG, send them certified, deliver them. He's made many attempts. They don't want anyone on their property. They don't want their well tested, but DEP may tell them they have to.
Yes, man.
So, I don't have time today to do it, but
Mhm.
can we put on the agenda for a future meeting about the method in which the PFAS is tested?
How much time have we got?
I don't have it
Yes,
today.
please, that's fine with me.
You can,
Yeah,
Chairman, it's his agenda,
Yeah.
whatever you
add
want.
it. You want it on the next one, and
Sean can ask Andrea to add it to the agenda, and it's on.
it's
So
on.
It's up
put
to you
on.
guys, your agenda.
Sure.
What makes you ask that question?
Well, I believe you had an experience with it,
A little bit.
and from what your experience was firsthand, and I know it's been trickled down to Gary Magnuson, and he understands, Jim, I think you heard how it
Yeah.
happened and all that.
Yep.
So, based on what you know about it, I feel you should educate this board on, but I don't have time tonight because I gotta go, but I don't want it, since we're talking about PFAS, I don't want it to go untalked about, especially if we got more PFAS to do.
I was just surprised, you asked him the question, you were looking at him, and you didn't look at me, so I didn't know that it had anything to do with anything that I had said.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
I only know about it because you told me about it, so.
Well, it's gonna be a thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a thing.
And I think you have we potentially are waiting for a grant to be released
Mm-hmm.
and apply. It'll be $20,000 for testing for PFAS, and I think we can use that money to specifically choose a well to do that.
John, just to bring you up to speed quickly, because I'm time sensitive, but
Mm.
Steve is aware of a well that had to get tested for PFAS and all this, and it was coming up hot for PFAS. But through his knowledge of wells and how you get put together.
No, you
All right, you go.
It was lead, it wasn't.
Oh, was it
PFAS. It was lead.
Okay.
So we pulled all the equipment out of the well. We took all the leaded brass, any brass out of the equation, put everything stainless. It was either stainless or nothing. Put it all back. We pumped the well, adequate time to flush the well, sample it for lead.
Came back.
No
clean.
detection.
So the idea is all the little fittings from the pump, getting it to the house, inside the house, do this, do that, that may be contaminated with PFAS and different things
Teflon
Yeah,
tape.
Teflon tape.
Yeah, right.
and all that. So we might be, as a board or as a town, paying for stuff that maybe if we tested directly from the well or from the source, then you know, okay, it's in the well, it's PFAS. But if it's not coming out of there and it's contaminated from the house, but it's worth looking at and talking about because
I agree. Yeah.
it could be a big thing.
Well, I've been thinking about this, and I think one step even better than that would be easier. Like a preliminary step would be to just pick a well anywhere in town, away from all known contaminations, and just test it for PFAS and see if anything comes up. Right?
At the well itself.
No, just sample it, and same way you've been sampling the ones around the landfill. Just take a random well.
Well, I think we
How
did
about
that.
sample your well?
Yeah, good.
I mean, I'm just saying, there's no known, but there's no known contaminants in the area, right?
But we did get some volunteers.
We had some. Here's the problem with doing that. Here's the problem. If it comes up hot, right? Now we're on the hook to test 500 feet out, 500 feet out, 500 feet out. It's not like we can test it, it comes up hot, and we go, okay, that's hot, walk away. Now that one comes up hot, and now you have to test wells within 500 feet from that one.
Only
Well,
if it's
if it's
associated
an
with the
offici-
landfill, which is a known source within 500 feet, and that's how you stand out.
So if
Right.
someone's well comes up hot for PFAS, they're not obligated to test?
If it's below 20, it's not considered a contaminated well.
But if it came above 20,
Then we wouldn't be responsible because it's too far away.
no, we wouldn't be responsible.
The
But with
the owner,
homeowner?
The
if
private-
there was over 20, they'd have to put a filtration system in.
But do they have to continue the testing? Are they obligated to go to that 500 foot?
No, because actually the DEP's asked us to voluntarily, because we have a landfill, which is a known source of PFAS, to voluntarily do this. They still have not mandated in Massachusetts testing for PFAS as far as VOCs.
Right.
They haven't done it yet. Why, I don't know.
So when they first came out with the PFAS volunteer program, they were looking for 40 dwellings or whatever it was. What was if the well came up hot, how would it affect the
The
home?
homeowner would have to install a filtration system and have to monitor it, because they agreed when they signed it that if it hit over 20,
Yeah.
that
They would pay.
they would pay. They would have to pay. They were on the hook.
With a deed restriction.
With a deed restriction on the house, and you're gonna test quarterly, and you're gonna change those filters out,
Yeah.
and those filters aren't filters you can clean like you with a regular charcoal filter. You usually dip them and re-clean them, but it's a
Anyways,
vicious cycle. It's something we could talk about forever, but I think there's some good ideas here, and we
Sure.
gotta definitely look into.
And just PFAS in general, there's just a slew of information. Government is still trying to figure out, this is
You're right.
why the regulations, I think, have not come through yet.
You're right.
Because they know that if they come out and they go, well, here's what we've decided, whether it's EPA or DEP or whoever, and then suddenly you realize that little towns, smaller than Charlton, can't afford it and they're going broke. And then what are you gonna do? Give an exemption, have the town go broke, make people move?
Personally, myself, I think if you can still buy Teflon tape at the supply house, it
Yeah.
hasn't, they haven't acted yet.
Yeah,
And
they-
floss, and floss.
Well,
Certain flosses have PFAS.
dental
too.
floss?
Yeah, dental floss.
yeah, those
Yeah.
nice ones, those Glide ones, it's
Yeah.
all Teflon.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
You can't buy a good dental floss anymore. The nice, can't even buy it. It's all
Put it
like
on the
Amazon.
agenda for next time. Matt, if you need to go.
I do.
Before you go.
Yes,
Next meeting. Who pounded the table? Was that you?
Jim did.
No, I just
He's
put it down,
raging.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I wasn't sure.
He's raging over there.
Well, I don't want to miss something.
No, no.
I didn't want to rush,
fine.
but Steve we generally go 3 to 4 weeks between meetings. Do you see a reason why we can't go 4 weeks?
I think-
Or
It's up to you guys, but I'm always here, so whenever you wanna meet, but I think there's nothing, unless something comes up, it's gonna be pretty quiet for the next 4
it's
weeks.
4 weeks. from
Let's
now.
go 3 weeks on the 18th.
I'm not gonna be in town.
Okay, because on the 25th, I'm not gonna be in town.
What? And I'm not available that week.
All right, so why don't we do this? Why don't we go for the 25th,
Yep,
and then I will call in.
okay,
Yeah.
25th.
25th?
And if Gary feels the need to come in, by all means,
He's willing to come anytime you want, but there's really nothing, unless those houses decide, then I would just update you. He's just gonna do his testing for the PFAS that he's normally done. Nothing has changed, I'll tell him, ask him for an update on the mowing from Bruce.
yeah,
And,
yeah, he doesn't have to come in unless he feels it necessary,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
Now,
Give him some time.
does, according to the laboratory that we use, and this is the first time we've tested for PFAS. We had a job in Oxford, and Oxford now requires that on a new construction.
That's Oxford. That was a local decision by Oxford.
Now, when it came down to it, we contacted the lab, who's Phoenix Laboratories in Manchester, Connecticut. It's a big laboratory. They said, which PFAS test do you want? We don't know. Let me call the Board of Health. Call the Board of Health down in Oxford. Nobody knows. So they got the bright ideas to institute the regulation. They don't even know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Well, Massachusetts doesn't have a lab to test the PFAS, it goes to Connecticut.
But they don't do it down there. They send it to somebody else.
Yeah,
And
that's
who that is,
another thing.
who that is right now, I don't know. But I will know that when I get these results back, which I guess the results are ready, that I'll have them within the next day or two. But I'm curious to see who that lab is that does the PFAS stuff.
Against another Charlton team.
Okay.
So-
Northern and Western.
Yep.
I don't know, but what it boils down to is,
Sign me up.
girl,
I love
the
hot
girl at
dogs.
Phoenix said to my wife, she said, do you want the cheap test or do you want the expensive test?
Yeah, there needs to be parameters set forth by DEP for testing, so.
There's a lot that's gonna be
So,
decided.
it's a big
They're
ordeal,
afraid.
and nobody
Right.
knows anything right now about it, and,
Yeah.
We'll be busy.
Just municipal, public water supplies for compliance, it's gonna be a monumental bill.
Yeah, it's
For-
not something they're stepping into too quick, so.
No, and I'm not saying that's a problem, I think it should probably go slow.
Yes.
Get it right.
Chairman?
Yes.
I have somewhere I have to be.
Yes.
I'm gonna call Jim. So I'll stay on the phone
Okay, sure.
and you guys can continue, but I'm going to physically leave.
That's fine. You are excused, thank you, Matt, and I think we're gonna make sure PFAS is on the next agenda, and then we're gonna move on to department head reports from Jim.
Welcome to the board, Steve.
thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
All right, Jim, take it away.
All right, just to let everyone know that, our trailer that we use for our emergency dispensing site was leaking, so Saturday, along with the CERT team, I'm gonna be emptying all our supplies out, putting in the trailer they have there temporarily, and then they're gonna haul the trailer away on June 4th. They're gonna rewrap it, put a new cover on it, clean the mold inside, take out some of the wood if they have to, and just repair it. And the state's paying for that through FEP. So, and I did order new supplies, as you can see, we're receiving some of them now, along with, these are just cheap wheelchairs to get people if we have to move people that are not ambulatory and move it along, like we're having we have to do mass vaccination, we'll have those in stock.
Okay.
We have 2 other wheelchairs, but these are just cheaper ones, they're called bariatric, cots. We did order new gloves, all that other stuff, so that'll be coming in, and that'll be, I think it's back ordered. I don't even think it's approved yet from the state, but it's in there. Also, as I said, we had interviews for that part-time position for the regional inspector, and Jamie Rice, who's fully qualified, registered sanitarian health officer, used to work in Sturbridge, moved to New Hampshire, came out, and the rest of the group decided they wanted to hire her full-time. I sort of resisted because she can't commit. She lives an hour and 45 minutes away, but she does own a home in Charlton, and she'll be coming in. The other our group interviewing her
So is she moving back to Charles?
She's gonna move back into Charlton.
Oh,
as soon
okay,
as
all
school's
right.
out. Yeah,
So that
she's,
shouldn't be a problem.
she's a local, but she's gonna be the regional, I can talk to you more about the regional, the Charlton Coalition for Public Health. Everyone regionalized in Charlton is the main hub. So we don't really need another person to do inspections. They help out, but Sturbridge is in need of inspections, Wales is in need of inspections. So, and we still have 2 other nurses that do workforce, actually 3. So we're working on that. We also, I'm doing all the EDEP filing for Bruce Haskell, and I have to sign off on that. So DEP did approve. They found a mistake. They had the
I
address
saw that.
wrong.
They had 15 Old Town Road
So I had to
versus
get back
15
in.
Dresser or
And
something.
we saw that on there, they just didn't make the correction, but, so they're going through these closely. There will be a lot of issues coming up for the board to make decisions on the landfill, but at least we got approval to move forward, like we said with the rocks at the fence is part of it.
Yes.
So, other than that, normal, we have camp inspections to do, that Kim and I will be doing, we have housing inspections tomorrow, we have Section 8, people get rent, we have to do all the Section 8 housing inspections too, so people can get in there. We've had issues on some complaints and stuff. We keep very busy in the office. It's a very busy time, so other than that, it's pretty standard stuff. So
Good. Steve, anything else?
I'm sure you have a million questions, but you can always call me.
Yeah. All
So
right.
what's the deal with the email?
I'll have Jeff get you an email.
Who's Jeff?
Jeff is our IT person for the town, and they give you a town email, because we have to be careful. Anything I give to you, if it's on your personal, and it's on your phone, guess what? Someone wants that information, it's freedom of information, they can get it off your phone. You don't want anyone in your personal business, so it's to protect you. So you'll have your own town email set up. We'll
It's
send
easy.
anything.
It's like Steve.Silvesca.
It'll be steve.silvesca@townofcharlton.net.
Yeah.
It's like John.Sanborn, or it's James.Philbrook@townofcharlton.net. So we'll get that for you set up, so we're gonna be sending you, so you make sure you're updated. And when I send you information, there's a lot of technical stuff from landfills and whatnot, so I like for the board to, I can't send it to everyone at once, I can send it on an individual basis to everybody, so there's a lot of DEP stuff they send to you and things like that, so. Updates. John's the chair, he sets the agenda, so he'll add anything, and we'll add Jamie Rice to the agenda with your approval.
Yes, please, Jim. Yeah, if she can hopefully be
She's
here for
gonna
the
have
next
to.
meeting.
She's good. She's good, Jamie. I met her.
Have you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. She's been very.
Actually, I first met
Matt,
her.
you on the phone still?
Yes, I am.
Wow.
Okay.
I actually first met her in Northborough. She was the board and health
No,
inspector.
you're thinking of Jamie Terry. This is Jamie Rice.
Jim, does the board need to vote on that?
You'll have to approve her to do inspections, yeah. She's coming in, Sturbridge already, Linda Bocalis already approved her for Sturbridge to do inspections. She's only part-time, Matt, 2 days a week. And no training involved because she's fully trained. She used to work for Linda, didn't have the certification, moved away to Georgia, and she's done over 150 housing inspections and restaurant inspections, and it's someone that we need for Wales and for Spencer and Sutton. So
Just curious, but Linda hired her, but doesn't she work for the town of Charlton?
no, Linda just gave it a stamp of approval that if we hired her, that she would approve her to work in Sturbridge. She just gave her high recommendation. That's all.
I understand.
You know what I mean? It was when we posted the job, we got very few qualified people. Matter of fact, one, Jamie Rice. So that didn't have to go to school for a year just to do an inspection. So I'm not looking.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying she's not the right candidate. I'm just trying to do chain of command to make sure that we're following the protocol.
No, that's why she's coming. No one can do any inspections until the board approves in any community, just like before with anyone else. She's the regional inspector, so she has to go to 5 different boards to get approval. If a board decides they don't want her to do inspections, then she can't do any. Only one who could do inspections for us is approval of the board, because inspectors are approved by the board. We're just giving you a name that we went through, and with the 5 towns, we sat down,
Who's doing it now?
and they, she came out on top, so.
I understand. Thank you.
Not as,
But still, it's still a board's decision.
Not for the, Steve was asking who's doing it now. We had somebody, they left the position as far as
The regional inspector left.
Regional inspector.
We still have Mary Carpenter. There's a lot I can tell you, but it would
Yeah.
take probably about 2 hours. Mary Carpenter's downstairs. She's a community health coordinator. She works for the coalition. We had another person that left the coalition. We have a part-time position and a full-time position. We didn't see anyone qualified for the full-time position, so we hired someone part-time, but they still have to come before the board. No one can conduct an inspection like myself until the board approves you as an inspector. So you 3 would vote and give the okay that she can be a regional inspector, and if I need her in a case, then she could use it. But Charlton benefits from being, we're the hub. The town of Charlton gets a lot of money just to do what I do to get this person, and at no cost to the town of Charlton.
right, so it's
Matter
all
of fact-
state funded. So this,
It pays for more than my salary and Kim's. So it's a good thing for the
so
taxpayers.
Jim oversees,
and
in this case, this,
Yes.
this person, if she is
If the
accepted
town
by
chooses
the
to
board.
allow her to do inspections, if not, she won't do any
And
inspections.
then you kind of oversee her workload and coordinate between the other towns.
We
let's
also
say.
have a regional coordinator that will help her, that coordinates it with the other towns, but she's a Charlton employee under the direction of
Right.
myself through the board, and
Yeah.
serve at the will of the board. But she'll be like another employee just doing inspections. Do I need her as much as everyone else? No, but they've made everyone regionalized in Massachusetts, so we have no choice. So I'd rather be a leader than a follower,
Mhm.
so we're the lead town. So otherwise, we'd be tagging along with someone else, and they'd be getting all the money. And I don't like to be a follower, I like to be a leader, so.
There you go. All right. Is that it, Jim? for
That's it.
Department heads'
I'm all
reports?
set.
I don't believe there's any other business unless, and there's nobody else here. Jim and the 3 of us. We've already determined the next Board of Health meeting, which will be 6 o'clock, Tuesday, June 25th. And Matt will be calling in for that one. Steve, I think you said you'd be available for that, hopefully. I should be.
I'll
If
be
I make
here.
it back from Georgia.
God willing, I'll be here.
Yeah. Okay,
All right.
with that, I will accept a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting. You want to do that, Steve?
I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
All in
I'll
favor?
second the
Oh,
motion.
sorry, Matt, seconded. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Matt, aye.
All right. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you.
Meeting is over. It is 6:50.